Welcome to Brevard Beat. We're heading into the 4th of July weekend, and it's coming up fast.
It really is.
And you might be thinking, okay, how do I make the most of it? Where are the best spots for fireworks? How do I figure out the parades?
There's a lot happening this year.
Exactly. And that's why you're here with us. Today, we're going to really explore the amazing range of 4th of July celebrations happening right across Brevard County.
Mm-hmm.
We've pulled together a ton of information looking at different sources to get the full picture parades, fireworks, live music, even some really great food deals.
Definitely some good food involved.
Oh, yeah. We want to make sure you have all the crucial details, those little insider tips, so you can put together an unforgettable celebration that's just right for you. So get ready, because there's a really fantastic patriotic vibe waiting all over the county.
And what's really striking, looking at everything we've gathered, is just the sheer scope of it all. The variety. It's not just, one big party on the 4th itself. It's more like a multi-day thing designed to stretch out the fun. It actually kicks off before the holiday, starting Thursday, July 3rd, and runs right through Sunday, July 6th.
A nice long weekend then.
Exactly. And the types of events are really diverse, too. You've got your classic community parades, obviously, and some huge fireworks shows.
The essentials.
Yeah, the essentials. But then there are also things like drone shows, which are pretty cutting edge, and even BBQ contests, which sound like a lot of fun.
Ooh, BBQ contests. Okay.
So it really lets you pick and choose what kind of patriotic vibe you're going for. And it's spread out geographically, too, all across Brevard, from Port Canaveral down to Port St. John. So no matter where you are, there should be something pretty accessible.
Okay, so let's dive into that schedule. Kicking things off early, even before the actual 4th, there's this event at Port Canaveral on Thursday, July 3rd. Looking through the info, what really jumps out about this one? Why start there?
That's a really good question, and it points to some smart planning, actually. Starting early like that, on the 3rd, it sets a different pace for the whole weekend.
Right, eases you in.
Exactly. You get a chance to sort of dip your toe into the holiday spirit before the big rush on the 4th itself. And importantly, it might mean dealing with slightly smaller crowds than you'd see on the main day.
Makes sense.
The details show it's happening around the Exploration Tower, that 670 Dave Nisbet Drive in Port Canaveral. And the fireworks are set for 8 p.m.
Okay.
But what really makes it unique, I think, is the backdrop. You mentioned it earlier, fireworks over actual cruise ships.
Yeah, that sounds visually stunning.
It really does. It's not just a pretty picture. It ties directly into Brevard's identity, the port, the maritime connection. Think about the scale of those ships. Having fireworks exploding above them must create this huge dramatic scene. You probably won't get that anywhere else. And the setting, being on the water, might change how you experience it too. Maybe wider views, less obstructed. And the sound carrying across the water could be different, maybe even feel the rumble a bit more.
Interesting point.
And you brought up the sensory stuff earlier, that salt air and BBQ vibe. That feels very Florida summer, doesn't it?
It really does.
The info suggests getting there by 7 p.m. to get those good waterfront spots.
Yeah.
And that's not just for the view. It's probably also about getting a comfortable space before it gets too packed, so you can really soak it all in the smell of the ocean, maybe some food grilling nearby, finding your little spot to enjoy that unique show.
Yeah, that sounds like a really smart way to kick things off. Okay, so that's Thursday. Now let's move into the main event. Friday, July 4th. And we start with a real American classic, the Merritt Island Independence Day Parade and Celebration. What's the significance of a community parade like this? What does it really mean for the area?
Well, the Merritt Island Parade is just a perfect example of how communities, build and show off their identity. These parades, they're so much more than just people walking down a street.
Right.
They're like a living snapshot of the community. Tradition, patriotism, local spirit, it's all there. And what's interesting, if you think about it, is they kind of act like an annual check-in on who's active locally.
How so?
Well, you see the school bands, the veterans groups, local businesses with their floats, maybe new community groups. It's not just entertainment. It shows you the fabric of the town, who's involved, what people care about. It's like feeling the heartbeat of that community pride year after year.
That's a great way to put it.
So this one kicks off at 10 a.m., the traditional time. Starts at Merritt Island High School in 100 Mustang Way, and the route goes along North Courtney Parkway to East Merritt Avenue. That route's usually chosen pretty carefully, to let lots of people see it without causing too much disruption.
Makes sense.
And you'll see all the expected things, marching bands, colorful floats, local leaders waving, classic stuff. But the info also mentions vendor booths after the parade.
Oh, okay.
And that's important because it shows how the event doesn't just stop when the last float goes by. It extends the gathering, turns it into more of a morning-long thing.
Keeps the vibe going.
Exactly. So for families, maybe with little kids who get restless, or anyone who loves that traditional daytime 4th of July feel before the evening fireworks, this Merritt Island parade is probably ideal. It's where that community spirit really starts the day.
And the practical tip.
Ah, yes, the practical tip. Bring lawn chairs and sunscreen. Essential for Florida in July if you're going to be watching for a while. Comfort is key.
Absolutely. Good advice. Okay, so after the parade, people are probably going to be hungry.
Definitely.
And the sources mention a good option for food and even some live music. Kreiderman's, with spots in Cocoa Village in Melbourne. How do places like this fit into the whole holiday plan?
Well, this touches on something really crucial for planning a big holiday weekend like this. The transitions. Moving from one event to the next.
Right, keeping the momentum.
Exactly. Having places like Kreiderman's with easy food and maybe some music, it creates that perfect midday pause, a place to refuel. The deal, they have $10 all-you-can-eat BBQ sliders from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, that sounds appealing.
It tackles that potential lull, when people might get tired after being out all morning. It lets them grab a quick, affordable meal and slide right into the evening plans without having to, go home and reset.
Good point. And the music in Melbourne.
Right. In Melbourne, they also have the Pink Spice Band playing from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. That adds another layer. Live music keeps the energy up, keeps that festive mood going.
Prevents that midday slump.
Precisely. From an event planning view, these kinds of spots are golden. They solve the food problem, provide entertainment, and maybe even keep people in the area, which could help other local places too. It's all about making the whole day flow smoothly and enjoyably.
It definitely sounds like the planning goes beyond just the big fireworks shows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking of fireworks, as Friday evening rolls in, Brevard County is basically going to light up.
Oh, yeah. Multiple options.
Yeah, lots of choices here. Big celebrations in Cocoa, Melbourne, and Titusville. How do these three stack up against each other? What kind of vibe does each one offer, and what should people know logistically?
This is where you really get to tailor your evening because they are quite distinct.
Yeah.
So first up, you've got Cocoa Riverfront Park. Things start there around 5 p.m. But the really unique thing is the Brevard Symphony performing at 8 p.m., right before the fireworks around 9 p.m.
A symphony. Wow.
Yeah. That really changes the feel, doesn't it? It makes it more elegant, more immersive, maybe. The music isn't just background noise. It can actually be coordinated with the fireworks, like a movie score.
That sounds amazing.
So Cocoa seems geared towards someone looking for a more refined, maybe classical experience. It adds that cultural layer, too, showcasing local musicians alongside the big booms.
Okay, so Cocoa is symphony elegance. What about Melbourne?
Downtown Melbourne has its Melboom celebration. This one gets going a bit earlier, 4 p.m., with music and food trucks leading up to their fireworks around 9 p.m. as well. The key thing here, especially for a downtown event where parking is usually tough.
Oh, yeah. Parking can be a nightmare.
Exactly. They have shuttles running from the Melbourne Auditorium on Hibiscus Boulevard. That's huge.
Definitely a big help.
It's not just convenience, it's smart crowd management. It cuts down on traffic right near the event, makes it easier for everyone to get in and out safely. It means you can arrive feeling relaxed, ready to enjoy things instead of circling for an hour looking for a spot. It really opens the event up to more people.
Good planning there. And Titusville.
And then Friday night's third option is Titusville with their Red, White, and Boom over at Chain of Lakes Park. That's 2300 Truman Scarborough Way. This one runs 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Fireworks probably around 9 p.m. when it gets dark.
What's the vibe there?
Titusville seems to be leaning heavily into the full family carnival atmosphere. You've got local bands playing classic rock and pop, stuff everyone recognizes. Plus bounce houses, face painting for the kids.
Okay, very family focused.
Definitely. And lots of food trucks, tacos, BBQ, lemonade, covering all the bases. The tip about limited vendor space suggests it's popular, so maybe get there earlier if you have your heart set on something specific. Titusville looks like the choice if you want a whole evening packed with activities to keep everyone, especially kids, entertained from afternoon right through the fireworks.
Right. 3 very different flavors for Friday night. That's great. And the logistics tips, especially the shuttle in Melbourne, are super helpful. But the celebration doesn't end Friday. Saturday, July 5th, Palm Bay steps up with its Independence Day celebration. How does having these big events spread out over the weekend actually work? Is it just about more party time?
Well, yes, it extends the party time, which is great, but it's also a really smart strategy from a planning perspective. Spreading major events like Palm Bays across the weekend instead of jamming everything into the 4th has real benefits.
Like what?
For attendees, it means less pressure. You don't have to choose just one night. If you're busy on the 4th or just want to do multiple things, you have options. It allows for a more relaxed approach to celebrating.
Yeah, takes the stress off a bit.
Exactly. And for the communities, staggering the events helps manage the crowds. Think about traffic, parking, safety resources. Spreading the load makes things smoother and safer for everyone involved.
Good point. So tell us about Palm Bay's event.
Okay, so Palm Bay Celebration is at the EFSC Palm Bay Campus 2500 Community College Parkway Southeast. It runs 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., with the fireworks show around 9:15 p.m. The music there is Bluestone Circle, playing from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. They're described as smooth acoustic rock.
Oh, nice. A different sound.
Yeah, a bit more laid back, perhaps, than some of the other bands. And again, very family-friendly with a dedicated kid zone, inflatables, face painting. They know how to keep kids happy.
Always important.
And food trucks, of course. Lots of comfort food BBQ, funnel cakes, gourmet corn dogs. Classic festival fare.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Any tips for getting there?
Yes, a very practical one. Use Community College Parkway if you can to avoid Malabar Road, which can get really backed up.
Ah, good local knowledge.
Definitely. That tip alone could save you a lot of time and frustration, making sure you start the evening on a positive note, not stuck in traffic. It really highlights how knowing the area helps during big events.
Invaluable advice. Okay, also happening on Saturday, July 5th, is something really different over in Cocoa Beach. There's Centennial and drone drones. That's not your typical fireworks display. What's the deal with drone shows? Why are they becoming a thing?
Right. The Cocoa Beach event, the Centennial and Drone Light Show, it really signals an interesting shift, maybe even the future of these kinds of public displays. It's fascinating.
How so?
Well, think about it. You've got 200 plus drones, all programmed to fly in formation-making shapes, like flags, eagles, rockets moving together in the sky over the ocean. It's intricate, it's precise.
That's cool.
But the biggest difference, it's silent.
Silent, really.
Mostly, yeah. Compared to the boom of fireworks, it's a completely different sensory experience. And that has implications. Think about people or pets. Sensitive to loud noises. Young kids, veterans, folks with sensory issues. A silent show is much more inclusive.
That's a really important point I hadn't considered.
It is. And beyond the noise, drones can tell stories in the sky in a way fireworks can't. They can form specific images, words, maybe even little animations. It opens up new creative possibilities for the organizers.
So it's not just a gimmick, there are real advantages.
Definitely. Plus, environmentally, there's no smoke, no debris falling. Logistically, while complex in its own way, it might have fewer safety risks than traditional pyrotechnics in some situations.
Okay, where and when is this happening?
It's at Centennial Park on South Orlando Avenue in Cocoa Beach. The street party starts around 5 p.m., and the drone show itself is scheduled for about 8:45 p.m.
And the vibe around it.
It seems geared towards a slightly more relaxed, maybe sophisticated beachside atmosphere. The info suggests looking for live acoustic music, like at Sunset Tafe Waterfront Grill starting around 6 p.m., and restaurant specials nearby. It complements that quieter, visually focused drone show.
Gotcha. Any tips for that one?
Yeah, get there reasonably early for a good spot on the beach, maybe around 6:30 p.m. And parking in Cocoa Beach can be tight, so if you can reserve parking ahead of time or figure out your plan, that's probably wise. It's definitely a different kind of spectacle, maybe a glimpse of where these celebrations are heading.
Very cool. Okay, we've covered Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but there's still more. Sunday, July 6th, brings the grand finale. Thunder over the Indian River in Port St. John. This sounds like a big finish, especially with a BBQ contest. Why keep the party going through Sunday?
Well, having this event on Sunday really solidifies it as a true long weekend celebration. It gives everyone one last big hurrah before, reality sets back in on Monday.
Right, eases the transition back.
Exactly. And it's a great option for people who maybe worked earlier in the weekend or just couldn't make the other events. This Port St. John event, it's on Kings Highway across from Cape Run Road, starts at 4 p.m. with fireworks around 9 p.m. It's perfectly timed as that final capstone.
And the BBQ contest adds a unique flavor. literally.
Oh, absolutely. That BBQ contest is a brilliant touch for community engagement. It shifts the event from just something you watch to something you can actively participate in.
Makes it more interactive.
Totally. BBQ cook-offs are such a part of American culture, right? It brings out friendly competition, showcases local talent, and the smell alone that draws people in. Whether you're cooking or tasting, you're involved. It builds community bonds in a really fun, delicious way.
Sounds like a blast. What else is happening there?
They'll have live local cover bands playing right up until the fireworks, keeping the energy high. Plus, more food trucks, bounce houses for the kids, and raffles. It's designed to keep people entertained and engaged for the whole evening.
So the tip there is?
Bring cash. For the contest entries, the raffle tickets, maybe some treats from vendors who might be cash only, you want to be ready to jump into all the fun, interactive stuff they have planned. It really emphasizes that community celebration, feel participation, shared fun, and good food right to the very end of the weekend.
Fantastic. It really sounds like a great way to wrap everything up. Okay, we've talked events, but let's shift gears slightly to something equally important for any celebration. The food.
Always crucial.
Brevard County seems to have some really tasty specials happening. Beyond just knowing what's available, how can folks use these food deals strategically to make their weekend even better?
That's a great way to think about it because food isn't just fuel here, it's part of the experience and you can be strategic about it. The options seem designed to fit different moments and needs throughout the weekend.
Okay, give us the rundown again.
Sure. We already mentioned Kreiderman's in Melbourne, those $10 all-you-can-eat BBQ sliders from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., perfectly timed with the Pink Spice Band from 2 to 5. That's your ideal, efficient, crowd-pleasing midday refuel between morning and evening events.
All right, keeps things moving.
Exactly. Then you have Slow and Low in Cocoa Beach and Vieira, offering $2 draft beers and half-price Brunswick stew all weekend.
Okay, that sounds like a solid deal.
It is. The $2 drafts, perfect for staying cool during the hot parts of the day. That's your beat the heat strategy right there. And the Brunswick stew is a good, hearty option, maybe less messy than some other festival foods if you're on the move. Knowing these deals helps you plan your spending and stay comfortable.
Good point. And the other one?
Sunset Cafe Waterfront Grill in Cocoa Beach. They've got live acoustic jazz sax on the beach Friday and Saturday evenings, plus $5 appetizer specials.
Ah, so a different vibe again.
Totally. This caters to that desire for a more relaxed, maybe slightly upscale evening experience. You could settle in there, listen to some smooth jazz, have a few appetizers before the drone show, or just unwind after a busy day.
Nice.
So you see the range. Quick BBQ for energy, cheap drafts and stew for budget-friendly comfort, acoustic jazz, and apps for a chill evening. The food scene is really set up to complement whatever kind of day or evening you're planning. It enhances the whole thing.
That's a really helpful way to look at it. Food is part of the strategy. Okay, so we've got the schedule, the logistics, the food. But let's try to capture the feel of it all. Beyond the facts, what are the sensory highlights? What will people actually hear, taste, feel, and see that will make this 4th of July weekend stick in their memory?
This is where it gets really immersive, right? Because my memories aren't just facts, they're tied to our senses. So think about what you'll hear. It's not just noise, it's a soundtrack. It's the powerful swell of the Brevard Symphony under the fireworks in Cocoa, that combination of sight and sound hitting you emotionally. It's the crisp sound of those marching bands in Merritt Island, that pure, traditional, patriotic sound filling the street.
Yeah.
Or it's the smoother vibe of the sax and acoustic guitars at Sunset Cafe, creating that relaxed beach atmosphere. Or the driving beat of the cover bands at Port St. John, getting everyone energized for the finale. Each sound creates a different mood.
True. What about taste?
Oh, taste is huge. It's the smoky flavor of those BBQ sliders, the comforting, savory warmth of Brunswick stew, the sugary rush of a funnel cake that just screams festival.
Definitely.
It's the bright taste of fresh fish tacos from a food truck, maybe the little zing of spice from that BBQ contest in Port St. John. These specific flavors, they anchor the memories. You taste that again later and it takes you right back.
So true. And feel.
You'll feel. Well, there's the obvious. The warmth of the Florida sun on your skin during the daytime parade. That's just summer.
Yeah.
But also, the feel of the soft sand between your toes if you're watching the drone show from Cocoa Beach, that connection to the place. And then in the evenings, that refreshing breeze coming off the water, maybe carrying the faint smell of salt or distant grills. Those physical sensations, even the subtle ones, they ground you in the moment.
Yeah. And finally, sight.
And see, of course, the big visuals. The absolute classic beauty of fireworks exploding in bursts of color over the water, whether it's the river or the harbor. It's mesmerizing.
Can't beat fireworks.
Well, maybe the drones offer a different kind of visual magic. That intricate, silent dance of lights forming shapes over the ocean in Cocoa Beach that's a completely modern, almost futuristic spectacle.
Yeah, definitely unique.
And during the day, it's the sight of those colorful parade floats, the flags, the community groups marching proudly. It's all part of the visual tapestry. These sensory details, all together, they're what make it more than just an event. They make it an experience, something that sticks with you. It really engages everything, not just your eyes.
That really does paint a picture. It's about the whole atmosphere. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. For everyone listening, planning their own amazing 4th of July weekend, what are the absolute key takeaways, those essential insider tips that move you from just knowing what's happening to knowing how to navigate it for the best time?
Right. These are the practical bits that can really make or break your experience, turning potential hassles into smooth sailing. They're based on, common sense and probably past experience with these kinds of big events. It's about being prepared so you can just relax and enjoy.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, parade prep. For that Merritt Island parade at 10 a.m. on the 4th, don't forget lawn chairs and sunscreen. Seriously. Being comfortable and protected from the sun makes a huge difference when you're standing or sitting outside for a while. It keeps everyone happier, especially kids.
Good reminder. What's next?
Beat the heat. Florida in July is hot, no surprise there. So make a plan to stay cool. Taking advantage of those $2 drafts at Slow and Low, or finding shade and a cool drink at Sunset Cafe during the music times. It's strategic. Stay hydrated, take breaks. It keeps your energy up for the whole day or evening.
Smart. Transportation.
Transportation hacks. This is mainly for Melbourne, in downtown Melbourne on the 4th, but applies anywhere parking is tight. Use the shuttle from the Melbourne Auditorium. Trying to park near a huge event is almost always stressful and time-consuming. The shuttle solves that. It's less hassle, probably faster overall, and lets you arrive ready to have fun, not frustrated.
Definitely use the shuttle if it's offered. Okay, what else?
Gear up. This one's important for families, especially with young children near the fireworks. Bring ear protection, earplugs, earmuffs, whatever works. Those loud booms can be really overwhelming for little ears, even scary. Protecting their hearing makes the whole experience much more pleasant for them, and therefore for you. They can enjoy the lights without the fright.
Crucial tip for parents.
Yeah.
And the last one.
Extend the fun and be ready for it. For Sunday's Thunder over the Indian River in Port St. John, remember it has that BBQ contest and raffles. So bring cash. You don't want to miss out on entering the contest, buying a raffle ticket, or grabbing some tasty treat just because a vendor is cash only. Being prepared lets you participate in everything that makes that final event special.
Got it. Those are all fantastic practical tips.
Yeah, they're all about removing the little annoyances so you can focus on the fun, the community, the celebration. Being prepared lets you be present.
Absolutely. Knowing the how is just as important as knowing the what and where. Okay, as we start to wrap up this exploration of Brevard County's 4th of July weekend, wow, it is incredibly clear that there is just a massive, diverse range of options available all across the county.
It really is something for everyone.
Totally. Whether you love the history and charm of a classic parade, or you want that elegant symphony playing under the fireworks, or maybe you're intrigued by the silent spectacle of a drone show over the ocean, or maybe you just want that fun, family-friendly festival vibe with bounce houses and BBQ contests. Whatever your preference, whatever your family's style, Brevard County seems to have it covered. They are definitely putting on a show for a truly memorable red, white, and blue weekend.
And looking at this whole picture, all these different events across Brevard, it really does showcase how varied a single region can be in how it celebrates. It kind of prompts a question, doesn't it? For you listening, with all these amazing choices, how do you actually choose to celebrate? What does community and tradition mean to you personally? Which of these elements, is it the music, the food, the specific type of display, the interactive stuff? Which parts really connect with your idea of a great celebration? How are you going to take all this information and craft your own perfect, memorable 4th of July experience right here in Brevard?
That's a great thought to leave everyone with. How you make it yours. Well, thank you for joining us on this journey through Brevard County's 4th of July plans. We really hope this gives you a solid head start for planning an absolutely fantastic red, white, and blue weekend. You've been listening to Brevard Beat.